Okay, so now let's look at some keys to success in terms of how to master each section of the exam and how to really what they're really looking for in terms of getting your band scores that you desire. All right, so let's take a look at it. All right, the keys to success for IELTS speaking. In terms of part number one, these are some recommendations I have for you to score very well. Paraphrase your response. What that means is try not to repeat the question. Like if they say, do you like to read? Some people say, yes, I like to read. Try to paraphrase the language, right? If they say, do you like to read? Say, absolutely, I enjoy reading. You see, it's that easy. Paraphrase your response. Try not to repeat the question words because it's an English test and you're supposed to be showing your English ability. You want to make sure you answer and extend your answer, right? You go from general to specific, right? General to specific. Answer and extend your answer. Answer and extend your answer. So let's go back to the question about do you like to read, right? So the question was, do you like to read? And the person may say, absolutely, I enjoy reading very much. In fact, I read probably 2 or 3 books every month, and I'm reading a new book right now. You see that? I answered in general. I gave a general response, and then I extended it with some specific information. So in part one, that's what you should be doing. In part one and part three, you should be answering and extending, answering and explaining, answering and extending, and then make sure you use synonym language. Okay? Give perfect basic grammar and speak without pausing or hesitation. Right? If you want a score of 7 or 8 in your speaking, you have to be able to do those things. In terms of part 2, take notes, take notes, take notes. A lot of students don't take notes. You have to take notes. What makes it a real challenge in part number 2 is if you look at the topic card and you try to speak off the top of your head. You know, that's what ends up when you do that. What ends up happening is you have a lot of hesitation and pausing because you're stopping to try to think of what you say. I'm going to have another lecture after this that kind of teaches you how to take notes for section number 2. And if you take notes this way and follow the plan of the notes, you won't have to try to think of what to say. You can, in terms of the topics you're going to talk about, but you can more easily go through section 2 without all the pausing and hesitation that leads to bad grades. Also use a variety of sentence forms. Use your compound and your complex sentences. Okay? When you use a higher level of grammar in terms of sentence formation, that always improves your grade. And get through all the subparts. Remember, in part number 2, there's going to be a main heading question, and then there are going to be 3 or 4 sub questions that they're going to ask you that are related to that. Okay? A little bit more about part number 2. This is where you have to be able to show your fluency, right? Speak from beginning to end. Speak from beginning to end, smoothly, clearly, confidently. Okay? We have to really work on eliminating the pausing and the hesitation. That's very, very important. Okay? And before we go on to that, and let me say something also about part number 3. Part number 3 is probably the more difficult part because of the vocabulary and the length of the questions. As I explained back with part number 1 about answering and extending, in part number 3, you want to answer, extend, extend. Okay, so answer in general, give a general answer to the question by using synonym language, then explain it, and then explain it some more. Okay, you have to really extend those answers in part number 3. To get a band, here's a little bit of information about how to get a band 5 or get a band 6. And I encourage you to kind of pause the tape and read through this information about band 5s and band 6s. All right. and this is about getting your band 7s and your bands 8. But go ahead and stop and read through that, because a lot of what was really helpful to be able to get a higher score of a band 7 or a band 8 or a band 6, you have to know what is required for me to get that score. What do I have to do to achieve that particular score? You understand? That's what's really necessary. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. All right. So we'll stop right here, and I will talk to you soon in the next lecture. Take care. Ciao. I hope you enjoyed learning about the keys to success for the IELTS speaking section.